a little bit of Temur Snowy Control. And before I get into this video in earnest, I want to make a quick observation about myself, because I've not been feeling that great about a lot of the magics I've been playing, even though, you know, I've been hitting some 5-0s and etc. And that has been good, but my overall feeling about playing Magic right now has been kind of frustrating. And it's mostly just because life is a little tricky right now. And so last night when I finished streaming, I uploaded my video as usual to YouTube, and YouTube actually came back before I went to sleep very quickly. Apparently it was able to analyze my video in such a way as to deem it as content that was not appropriate for children, which I assume was because I was cursing so much and etc. etc. And I just wanted to take a moment to reassess myself and how I've been playing Magic and etc. And just try to reset myself mentally, because we're here to have a good time. And I want to thank everyone who watches the videos, who hangs out with me live and supports what I do here, and who, even people who are just here for the content. If you want to see some more Temur Snowy Control, you should see some Temur Snowy Control, and I can be a better sport than I have been. But this is inspiration to play this version of Temur Snowy Control, which is a tweak of the version that I played just the other day. So the remarkable comment on that build and this build that I've kept is the 4 Lonely Sandbars in the mana base. Now, that version was playing a whopping 28 lands, which may have been part of the reason we flooded out a few times. Now, we were very, very close in 2 matchups to winning them, and then we flooded out a bit and died. The number one reason to play 4 Lonely Sandbars is to pair that up with Wrenn and Six, which is incredibly powerful. This engine is fantastic. I noticed it when I was playing Iceberg Control and all sorts of other decks, is that Wrenn and Six plus cycling lands is good, but if that cycling costs you only 1 mana, it's the best. And how can we make that happen? Because all of the sort of onslaught block cycle lands that were brought into Modern by Modern Horizons, all of those cost a colored mana. The bicycle lands from Amonkhet cost 2 generic mana, and the Triomes, the tricycle lands, cost 3 generic mana a cycle. And that's just a bit too taxing in Modern to both have interaction up while cycling and making sort of forward momentum every turn. So the answer is to find a deck that naturally wanted to have a lot of blue mana in play, and then put a maximum number, up to a maximum number of the blue cycle land in it. So that's what this person has done. And they were able to take this to 31st place of the Super Qualifier. Does that mean this is necessarily a good deck? No. I made a couple of tweaks. We dropped 2 lands for 1 extra Snapcaster Mage and 1 extra Shark Typhoon. I think it's possible the 3rd Jace the Mind Sculptor is not that important, but since we're playing 4 Force of Negations, being able to throw away a Jace and still think that you have 2 more in reserve in your deck is just an okay feeling. Keeping the 2 Spell Snares, basically nothing else has changed. So I just took out the 2 Wooded Foothills, so we are down technically to 8 fetches that fetch on-colored mana producers, and I went up a Field of Ruin. So we went down 2 Wooded Foothills, up a Field of Ruin, and down the 1 Prismatic Vista, and then we added 1 more Snapcaster Mage and 1 more Shark Typhoon as interaction and threats. I think it's possible that the 3rd Jace the Mind Sculptor could become another Shark Typhoon, but I'm not 100% sure. And it's possible the 3rd Mana Leak could become the 1st Logic Knot. But again, we already have Sinkhole and Pulse of Murasa and Wrenn and Six that all want to play out of the graveyard. So there's a few things that are sort of tugging at the pressure of our graveyard. So with all that out of the way, thanks for bearing with me, folks. And we are going to hop into a Modern League. Stompy Wire says, bro, I've watched dozens of streamers for years, and you have an awesome personality. Don't let that bother you. I've been playing since '95, and you're a great positive for the sport. Well, I don't ignore the times where I could be better, I guess is what I'm saying, Stompy, and that I have had a reason to analyze what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and say, can I be better? Shauna Geek Media says, I'd go not over 4th Force. I think this deck has such a problem with Teferi, Time Raveler, that I'm not inclined to cut any number of Force of Negations for the number of times where we have to like play Wrenn and Six on 2 in order to further our game plan and be able to stop a Teferi on 3. I think we ran into the Omnath 4-color control twice recently when I was playing Iceberg, and then I think it was once while we were playing this deck, so that deck is a lot more popular all of a sudden, and it is... this deck has a better matchup against it than Iceberg does, I think, but the real thing that you need to avoid is them resolving a Teferi Time Raveler. It may be possible that the fourth the Logic Knot is better than the fourth Force because it does give you a 2 CMC counter that's applicable in a large number of matchups. But as it is right now, I think I'm just pretty comfortable with it. So we're down to 26 lands. This looks like a mulligan to me. Opponent mulligans. They have no companion, so we're not against the Luris deck where I could hope to sort of have these lightning bolts guaranteed have text. So I'm just going to ship that. This looks a lot better. Not perfect, but much better. I think I'm just going to ship this Pulse of Murasa. In a lot of matchups, it's just not going to be good enough. Jace is a great threat to have, and Ice-Fang is hopefully going to draw me into some gas. This is a mediocre hand, but I'm likely to keep it. I suppose I could ship one of these lands, with the upside being that we're going to play turn 2 Ice-Fang Coatl, and in any aggressive matchup, they're going to kill it, and then we're going to be like, yeah, you know what? I can ship the Stomping Grounds and then fetch it. I've got a sort of ideal turn 1 play of Volatile Fjord. So we're assuming that 26 lands, which, by the way, in Modern, 26 lands is other than decks that are using things like Drought of the Elysian Grove and Explore, I think 26 is usually the highest number I see in control decks. However, this one has the added wrinkle axis that we want to be using at least one Lonely Sandbar per game to be cycling every turn, which means it doesn't really get to count as a land. This is kind of interesting. So they'll probably take the Ice-Fang here, but that means I can pick it up with the Pulse of Murasa, so we'll see if that gets to be relevant. Basic Swamp Inquisition off the Verdant Catacombs. So this could be some kind of Pox or 8-rack deck or something of that nature, or it could just be Jund or Rock. Probably Rock with a very conservative opening on their lands. They don't know if they're against a burn deck or something like that, so maybe they want to reduce the amount of damage they're taking as much as possible. Not really too much I can read into this, even though I'm choosing to do so. They took the Pulse. I assume this means they have another discard spell. Or they at least have a reason to do that. Yeah, 25 or 26 for consistent Cryptic Commands, but you also have to look at the number of cantrips that they're playing. And this one's playing cantrips in the mana base, which is kind of funky. All right, that was a sick draw. You assume they've got to push for the Ice-Fang? Well, it's still a 2-for-1, right? Like, I mean, that's not really a problem for me. Like, the Ice-Fang is still a 2-for-1 then, whereas if they take the Pulse, then they're taking away the 1-for-1, and they're making it take a lot longer for me to get there. Which maybe they did. I mean, maybe that was their plan. I don't know. They haven't played anything on turn 3, which is kind of sketch. This is a little yikes. Remember when I shipped that land and assumed we were going to be fine? That may not be the case. Let's see Kolaghan's Command. Hit me hard, opponent daddy. Hit me hard. I want you to hit me as hard as you can. Oh, looping back to the picture Stompy Wire, I used to be 235 pounds, and even though I'm like 15 pounds heavier than I was a couple months back, I'm only at like 190 right now, so it does... it's definitely easier for me to be confident about all that crap. You could pulse a land. Yeah, I could have. Yeah, I suppose. Did I call this card coming down, or did I not? I believe that I did, by the way. I believe the answer was yes, you did. Yes, you did! Yes, you did, Brent! You tried to fuck him. Oh, shit. I was supposed to be cursing less. I was quoting Pulp Fiction there. That's not my fault. It's not my fault. Samuel L. Jackson made me do it. Yeah, when I was a teenager, Stompy, I was very much overweight. Which did not affect me all that much. I still had a good time in most respects in my life, but it's still something to deal with, you know. I think we just bounce the Bob here. I mean, I suppose I could just let it sit in play for a turn. Playing Jace and then bouncing the Bob, I mean, that's like 100% Jace is going to get bolted. They're both great films. Yeah. I mean, right now I'm like 190, 192, 93, Shauna. But I was 178 at the end of last summer when I was working at the restaurant because I was walking like 20,000 plus steps a day. Anyway, attack here. I really don't know what is in their deck. I'm going to bounce this Bob. The danger here is like how tempo positive their turns can be, but they didn't fire off anything there, so. Yeah, Stompy, my entire personality is constructed of quotes from famous movies and TV shows. A lot of The Simpsons. But The Simpsons doesn't tend to quote things that are quite as R-rated as a lot of my favorite content. They don't. Yeah, they tend to stay off of that. They stayed more on sort of stuff that was more pop culture. They take the mana leak. All right. They redeploy the Bob. All right. Well. I suppose I could always Fate Seal them and hold back the Ice-Fang. Then they need to hit one thing or the other. What I should have done is played Ice-Fang before combat and see what it picks me up. I'm going to attack anyway. Then I'm going to play the Ice-Fang and see what we get to. Chuck Palahniuk's a great writer. Yeah, he's very, very enjoyable. Even if, like, I don't know, what do I want to say? I feel like he's a great writer in the same way that something like NWA was a great group for their time, in that they went out to say something that they felt really amazingly powerfully passionate about, that really did affect some people, real people in the real world, that a lot of other people didn't seem like they were commenting on. Yeah, well, Shauna, like, I like his writing a lot. I think it has a quality to it that I associate with some of my favorite writers. You know, it might be weird to hear like Terry Pratchett and Stephen King, Douglas Adams. It's both accessible and poetic, but somehow it stays on point in a way that, I don't know. It just, it's very accessible and smooth to read. But I mean, obviously the cultural impact was a big part of that. And ooh, okay. I don't. That Crocs is coming down next turn, isn't it? Or it could be. Clive Barker. Also, if you've ever read Fight Club, it's quite a different narrative than the film was. Opponent says these snakes. I responded, hey, Larynx Punchworthy, I hope you're doing well, friend. So, if they're going to cast Croxa this turn, they need their double red, so they'll have to fetch Shock if they want to bolt my Jace. Plus, I have a blocker. I have no cards in hand, and my life total is fine, so I'm going to use this turn to Fate Seal them, and then if Jace survives till next turn, then we'll get to... Well, never mind. Snakes on a Cartesian plane. Sorry, I didn't mention the one of the more important moments of my choices there is if I brainstorm and put one card in my hand, they're playing Croxa anyway. Put it on the bottom, yes. I mean, they're going to shuffle most likely, but... They got a Thoughtseize. That's very useful. Snakes on a Plane, Kamigawa, followed by the hit sequel, Snakes on a Plane, Ravnica. Yeah. And then there's weird ones like Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is I love that movie. It was my favorite movie when I was like in my middle teens. And the book is great, but it's also just like randomly quite different. It's weird in which ways it's different too. Like it's just one of those things where it's I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. So I think I just go all in here and hopefully Snap Bolt closes this game out next turn, and I have access to Snap Cryptic. So I guess if they play a haste creature, yeah, well that's what I'm thinking is that if they hit a 2-drop or 3-drop, I can just Snap Bolt them out of this game. So I probably want an upkeep stop after the Bob trigger. Because I don't think they can do anything about that. They have a Raging Ravine to boot up here. So they drew KCOM. And I have one card in hand, so they're like fairly likely to try to play it. Yeah, well, I mean, what's going to happen here is because they went too low. Oh, Vonnegut is amazing. Yeah, Vonnegut's another perfect example. Like, Vonnegut and Chuck Palahniuk, to me, are like very adjacent authors, which maybe is not true. But it just feels like Palahniuk took a little bit of more of a voyeuristic side of things, whereas, you know, Vonnegut's a lot more philosophical. And I don't think any of those things are wrong because, like, there is value to, I don't know, being the person who's willing to write in a way that speaks to people's experience. So I'm just waiting to sort of squeeze out the maximum amount of their mana here so that they have less of a way to, or less of a chance of interacting with the Snap into Bolt here. I don't think it's very likely that they have something like Cling to Dust. But if they do, I think I still end up surviving here. Yeah, I mean, I think Watchmen had the same treatment. I actually think the Watchmen movie in multiple ways is better than the Watchmen book. I've heard people disagree with me, and that's fine. Maybe it's just because I know that property well enough on both fronts that, like, I feel like where one is weak, the other one buoys that weakness, and where one is strong, the other one sort of has a weakness there that opens the narrative to being told a little bit more in one way or the other. But anyway, yeah, I mean the movie was obviously a little bit more. Yeah, I think cogent is a good word. It had a more. The pirate part in the comic book was useless. Yeah, but the way it's in the comic book is not obtrusive, right? The way it exists in the comic book is in between the chapters. There's text. It's just text. It's just you don't. There's not. It's not like it interrupts your comic book, which was really weird with the I think it was the Snyder cut of Watchmen had all of these chapters for the Curse of the Black Flag or whatever it was called, and it was really obtrusive. Like it very much got in the way of the narrative, and the narrative was already like huge. Like it's like 3 hours and 15 minutes of Watchmen, which I love, but yeah. I mean, so I watched it with I want to say my favorite human being that I've ever met. I watched the full cut, and the pirate parts were very distracting in my opinion. She didn't mind so much. She's pretty fucking sharp. So, God, sorry the swearing. She's pretty darn sharp, and she understood the sort of thematic connection. You're my favorite chat member, Larynx, not my favorite person. I hope your wife is your favorite person. Or at least like second favorite. I know. I'm just sassing you, dude. I'm just not good at it. All right. She's your favorite non-you person. That's some quality self-esteem, sir. Well played. Larynx is my favorite chat person. Well, other than Roy, he's been around the longest, and Roy is my like real life friend. So Roy has Roy has a distinct advantage. Shauna, you haven't been around long enough for you to be my favorite. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, you're great, but you know, favorite would just be lying. I'm not gonna lie to you. You can count on me not to lie to you. True facts. I used to be a person who was incredibly prolific at lying. Let's call it that. And I had to deal with that in my lifetime too. And in its own way, magic helped me do that. Being aroundism. I've never heard of that. Maybe. I don't happen to think that people being around for distinctly long lengths of time is necessarily something that's an advantage or something to be proud of. Especially nowadays. I mean, there's nothing humbling like seeing all these Zoomer fucking 15-year-olds just absolutely trashing Magic tournaments in every single format that exists to tell you that people who have been around the game longer aren't necessarily any better at it. Rue Old is delightful. I have not seen you pull that one out. Lucy. Okay. Apparently I've got some spleening to do. Yeah. Am I 31? I think I'm 31. Jesus. I am 31. 31 and like a half, basically. Oh, that was a really good draw. I'm not as close with a lot of my high school and that era of friends as I was a little while ago for reasons that I'm not going to get into. I mean, mostly it has to do with the fact that I've been traveling all around the world for 4 or 5 years for my job. So that's made keeping that connection. Actually, do I just kill the Bob here? So if I kill Bob, they get to Liliana me again. So I lose the Shark type. No, we kill the Liliana here. I'll let them have cards, but I'm assuming my cards are better than their cards. Anyway, I'm not as close with a lot of my high school friends, but some of them I am, and anyway, it's great. Obviously, the last year has been very taxing because they did pitch their Wrenn. That's crazy. Maybe they have a second one. They flip out Verdant Catacombs. Double rats. Yeah, this is getting crappy in a hurry. You see what you have to compete with, Shauna? You see what you have to compete with? Shauna, you're probably my favorite viewer who's popped up in the last month or two, though. So if that means anything to you, please enjoy that, because that is definitely true. Last God as well is definitely a standout of the last little while. Yeah, Bob is definitely not working for me this game. They picked up their land with Wrenn and Six already, which means they can't ping. But this Shark Typhoon is a little unfortunate here. Also might be my favorite Russian. You almost definitely are. Although I thought Roy said that your name was Irish or Gaelic something. How did that happen? Were you my first viewer I didn't know personally? You're definitely the earliest one who stuck around, Larynx. I can't remember any other early viewer other than you. You were there within the first month or two, so yeah. You are definitely one of the earliest ones, and certainly the one that stuck around, right? There definitely hasn't been anyone else who's hung around from the earliest days and continued to contribute. Well, this sucks. Yeah, that's the plan. I think they're gonna fetch here to put the land in their graveyard for the Wrenn and Six, and then we get to make it go away. Your dog says Ruri and then lick. What does it mean? I don't know. I speak cat better. Yeah, sorry, bud. Oh, they draw Thoughtseize. That's not what I wanted to see. That's a great origin story there, Shauna. Holy crap. They're playing Scourge of the Skyclaves. Well, Let's get the Spell Snares back in for game 3, shall we? That sounds like a good plan. So I haven't been commenting too carefully on the gameplay here, mostly because it involves my opponent hitting me in the head with a sap, which is a tool for knocking people out, and then trying to rifle through my pockets. Playing against Jund is not necessarily the most interesting gameplay ever, just because it's so heavily like they just attack your hand and attack your hand and attack your hand, and there's not normally a lot of interesting decisions to make here. I was trying to maximize where I was able to deploy some 2-for-1s or otherwise, but it's quite tricky to do. Cleansing Wildfire is the card out of the sideboard that I'm sort of most interested in here. Counter Magic in general is poor, but Cryptic Command is normally good because it's a 2-for-1. Same with Shark Typhoon. Sinkhole is just generally good removal. So, and they're playing very much like a hybrid of Jund Death Shadow with classic Jund. I mean, as it was obvious there that they played Bloodbraid Elf into Scourge of the Skyclays. But it is interesting, like that makes their Bob make a lot. Yikes. Every mulligan against this deck is so brutal, but like this is unplayable. That's much better. Yeah. Yeah. They have just a generally kind of strange build. I think I'm going to keep Lightning Bolt and Flame Slash here. I think I'm ditching Pulse. No, Pulse can pick me up a land. Let's just ditch the Jace. So your two options are like to try to preserve cards in your hand that you might be able to sort of survive their discard, but the way these games have been going, especially with the mulligan in game 2, mulligan in game 3, it looks like we're just going to have to get used to the idea of living with 0 cards in hand and just top decking everything we need. It's weird because it has followed me, especially in paper. I feel like I'm a little bit more of a, I don't want to, what is it like? I'm a bit more of a fierce competitor when I play paper. Maybe the stakes are just higher than online, but the number of times I've just been able to like, what's the right word? Just like go full strength and just be like, I don't care if you put me on 0 cards. I'm just going to top deck whatever I need and win. And that is, you know, a risky but correct strategy. Is just like you don't have control in some games. You just have to give it up and hope that you draw what you need. And sometimes it works out. I remember playing blue-white control against someone who's a sort of previous Pro Tour player, and he was on a either black-green or Abzan mid-range deck. I was playing the Pioneer format at the time, and it was just like, okay, like they're putting you on 0 cards, and there's nothing you can do. We call it Super Saiyan mode here. Yo, I'm not Saiyan, but I am Super Saiyan. That was a good draw. Not a great draw, but a good draw. If they have the follow-up immediate curve into Liliana, it's going to be scary. I did board in... No, I didn't board any of the Cleansing Wildfires, which been... This is really, really hard to beat if it resolves. I mean, I can Cryptic it next turn. All right. This is each player discards. The problem is Wrenn and Six is drawing them a card per turn, which currently has been a land, but that isn't able to translate into a game win. But now that they have the Liliana, it may be. So this is the classic Jund position to put you into, and it's not the most fun. I'm hoping that they will do something before they take up Liliana, and I can either counter it or whatever before I bounce it, but we'll see. Most likely discarding Pulse of Murasa here, just because Lightning Bolt's too important to kill things like like a Bob. They have 7 cards in hand though. That they definitely don't need to do anything. Oh, maybe I just discard the land here. Yeah. All right. All right. Night, Shauna. EE on 2. Well, if my deck was functioning the way I wanted it to, I would have a Wrenn and Six in play too, Mike. So it's not. This is This is all the decks I've been playing recently lose to this, and it's really tilting. It's so freaking hard to beat. Just like Bloodbraid Elf just being a 2-for-1 all on its own. I think I have to bounce the Liliana here, but this game is almost impossible already. Yeah, I think we're just gonna tap out of this one. I just can't do it. I can't beat the value that they've pulled out. They've pulled ahead on cards by way too much already. This deck just has no way to catch up in a situation like that. So we won game 1, and that was actually quite interesting. But their ability to generate value is just too good. Things like Croxa and having the perfect curve out. Bland Bloodbraid Elf again. Well, I don't know about that part, but oh, Ryan, we're gonna play Urza next, I think. On your recommendation. I have it loaded up, so why not? Yeah, Junda seemed like a real competitor in the last couple leagues I've been playing. It's really hard to outvalue them with what has been banned from Modern nowadays. Although I spent all of game 2 and 3 there without ever having Veil of Summer, but also they didn't play that many discard spells, so. And I don't like to use Veil of Summer as a card that I'm saying is, something that is even good. Hey, it's you mad. If I were going to play the Modern Showcase this weekend, what deck would you suggest? Niv Mizzet, especially for you, Cave Dan. I think Niv Mizzet would be the most fun / competitive thing one could play. So I need to find red mana here. But I think I'm going to keep this hand. I would contact Pi Gonti, which is like Piemont Andrea on Twitter, or I have his Discord, Cave Dan, and I think because he has a primer, and or you could probably just get him to talk to you about it, and or he sells coaching. But I mean, but I think that would be what, if you were really serious about doing well, even for probably 10 to 20 to 30 minutes, if you could get a hold of him, because I was considering playing it. I need 1 QP to play it, and money wise it's a free roll. QPs disappear at the end of the season anyway, so I'm kind of incentivized to do it. And like, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, what if I played a deck that I like would actually want to play and actually think I could be successful with. And for me, it would be Niv Mizzet. I did 5-0 with Niv Mizzet Blade the other day, although that may have been slightly fluke. It's almost definitely not the best version of Niv, but it was reasonably powerful. Yeah, it's funny. I remember there was an era where I felt like Niv was actually a little bit disadvantaged because he did not. It's funny because he didn't before I 5-0'd with that list. And I think he's probably right, although I think my counterpoints still stand of Stoneforge distracts your opponent. So yes, it does give them a target for removal, but it's a 2-for-1 in and of itself, and most of their removal is not. And oftentimes it will cause them to spend mana in a way that is not detracting from your sort of main strategy. I don't think it's like A+ slam dunk the best build ever, but I think it's probably got more value to it than one might think. I mean, there was literally a game against Red Greed midrange where they were able to Blood Moon me down to Mardu colors, and I was able to just resolve a Batterskull and win the game on the back of that, plus like 1 Lightning Helix. And I don't know that if that would be possible. Any thoughts on the Modern Horizon 2 leaks? I would say no, because until they're confirmed, I just don't. I don't like speculation, generally speaking, unless I'm getting paid to do it, basically. So, I don't bother. I haven't had many thoughts. Okay, so we can try to draw into one of our 4 Force Negations here, since they've decided to go for this on their turn. Put it on the stack. They went 39 cards deep to find the living end? That's crazy. I will say Ryan, that I think Price of Progress would be an incredibly poor choice for Modern. I think that would be terrible. Just terrible. If anyone cares about my opinion on it. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm not saying that I'm not. I'm very much biased on that, but Price of Progress would be absolutely god-awful for Modern, and I can't imagine that they would want to introduce that. That's the kind of card that feels like it would have been there based on their idea of what Modern was going to be like. I'm a huge fan of Counterspell being added to the Modern format, but that's specifically for one reason and one reason alone, which I've said before, but I will say again now, which is I think there should be a Counterspell format, and it's clearly not Legacy, and it probably shouldn't be Pioneer. So I think Modern is the best place that Counterspell should be legal and would be a great place. And I only base that on a totally made-up notion. I mean, I say made up, but the idea of content or of format curation, where you have cards in a format that are not necessarily specifically healthy or specifically unhealthy or whatever. What you're doing, or overpowered, or they break the format or whatever. No, you separate the formats not only by power level, but what play patterns that you're allowing to happen. And I just can't see Counterspell existing in Modern, creating a Modern that doesn't look like Modern. And doesn't feel like Modern. And there's just no, I don't know, there's no Counterspell format. And I feel like there should be a Counterspell format. And like Modern is clearly the Lightning Bolt format. I mean, is Lightning Bolt played in Legacy? Yes, but Lightning Bolt is like top spell in Modern frequently. So I don't know. That's my opinions on lightning or on Counterspell. It will definitely impact the format P Soul Thaplea, but I don't agree with some people saying like Mana Leak and Remand will immediately be extinct, because that's just not true. Remand draws you, the person casting the card, which is very important in sort of tempo-y strategies. It has a generic mana which can be reduced, so specifically thinking about the deck Storm. And you can remand your own spell for value. Again, mostly done by Storm decks, but not only. And then blue is a real cost. It means you're probably going to have to fetch Shock fairly aggressively, and you can't afford to do that in every matchup that you need to deploy that counterspell in. So pick and choose from all these different bits how much you care about my sort of, I don't know, how much you invest in each one of those bits. Yeah, Shardless Agent would be great. Shardless Agent would be, if Shardless Agent is coming, and that was a card that I kind of speculated on myself, as I thought, oh, Shardless Agent would be a fine ad, and it will be, I think. So, all right, this is a much better opener than the previous. Can't wait to Coco into a Planeswalker. If that one leak is correct, Stoink. The one that says there's a Planeswalker that counts as a 1/1 insect in every other zone. That sounds like a card that would have gotten axed, but we'll see. We'll see. Spell Snare, Spell Pierce, Striped Riverwinder, deal. Street Wraith, also deal. Don't you force me. Don't do it. Don't force me. You can't force what you can't catch. You can run, but you can't glide. Oh, Cave Dan, if you're still here. Force of Negation can get banned from Modern when Teferi 3 gets banned from Modern. Suppose that could just be an MDFC's front side was an insect. No, because you wouldn't be able to... I mean, it could be. You accept this trade. Good, good. But on the flip side, don't you think that would hurt Niv Mizzet? But maybe Niv Mizzet being top tier is not something you actually care that much about? Which is fine. I don't. That's not a problem. Maybe the way I said it sounded like that might be like I was saying that's a problem. That's not. Niv Mizzet being top tier is not the most important thing in the world. But I am a fan of it. Well, I think Pioneer should be the Smuggler's Copters format. I mean, there's no. It is very nonsensical that card is banned in that format. It's very. It seems egregious. Also, can we figure out some kind of bet that we can do so we can get Dave to have to talk about Magic Story on the podcast? Is that a thing we can make happen? Because I feel like that would be the greatest onboarding tool for Faithless Brewing that has ever been. Making a cranky old man talk about Magic lore. Can you get him to agree to it if we can 5-0 with Bolas' Citadel? Because I bet we can make it happen. I am not trying to get you canceled. I do not think that would get you canceled. I would never get you canceled. Look at this. Every time I end a league, and every time I end a league, this is sitting here. And it's not sitting there just because I love Faithless Brewing. It's because like I'm a fan of Faithless Brewing, like old school players are fans of Magic. I'm not just a fan. I'm like to the core, to the bone. Ad nauseum gets to run wild. Let's ban Veil Summer while we're at it. Just get them all out. Blood runs orange, blue, and teal. Yo, you right. I would really like to draw one of my relics here. They scooped. They're just like, nah. I mean, I wanted to send you a screen cap, but I can just tell you live now so I don't have to go through all that. I want to send you a screenshot of my review of Faithless Brewing because it specifically points out that you start the podcast by introducing it as the podcast for Spike Rogues. And how I love that because it was something that spoke to players who were already familiar with Magic. And that spoke to me. It wasn't like, you know, you guys aren't trying to be something like Magic the Amateuring. You're not trying to be something like Arena Decklist Podcast. I mean, your name is Faithless Brewing. I mean, I don't know what kind of new player would just be. Opponent said both living ends were in hand. Anyway. I mean, I don't think that you should. I'm just saying I'm a big fan of it. That's all I'm saying. And the reason I kept quiet about it is because I have had opinions on changes that you guys have done, and none of those have been, I don't know, realized or adjusted or whatever. And just like with Magic Arena, at a certain point I went, I don't know what's best for this. And I have submitted feedback, and very little of my feedback has been supported for the reasons that I think. Like, I'm also the person who thinks that, like, when they kept changing World of Warcraft to make it more convenient for people but less RPG like, that was detrimental. I'm like, you're making the game easier and more accessible, and I think the clunkiness is something that I appreciate because life is clunky. You don't get to just like right click on items in the real world and pick up all your groceries. You know, you have to walk through the store and pick up all your groceries, and it takes time and effort. And I like that part of things. And apparently the average consumer doesn't, and that's fine. So we had an unkeepable 7 basically, and this is a very loose 6. Right. I mean, but I also know that like I'm a big enough fan of the things that I care about that I'm just gonna stick around probably no matter what. I don't know if the world necessarily means passion, because there's plenty of misguided passion going around Cave Dan. Like, there's a lot of people spreading opinions that, you know, misguided passion is probably the source of the flat earthers still, right? I mean, but thank you. Having my passion ground into the dirt by Modern in the last couple of days was a sort of wake up call to variance and what my actual job is here. There's so many times in my life where I've gotten to the point where I have to say the words like, oh, I understand this like intellectually, but in the moments of my life, I'm not cognizant of it, and so I will sometimes make mistakes related to or around thing X. All right. So I don't think that I can tap down here. But I also... So if I'm not tapping down here, I'm cycling this Lonely Sandbar, which I guess is what I have to do because I have to at least represent counter magic, or we're done for. But if my opponent's playing their deck, they didn't have another cycler? That's scary. Oh, they didn't have another land. Wild. Huh. All right. Well, you're saying there's a chance. You're saying there's a chance. You might even be super saying that there's a chance. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention when they handed out the reading. What do you got? Don't remand. Don't remand because I'm going to be mad. You remand, I'm going to be mad. Don't do it. Don't do it. Come on, baby. Hit me harder. I want you to do it. I want you to do it. I want you to do it. They can't remand? I mean, they could remand, and I'd have to dispute it. And then if they draw the land, then my shields are down and they go for it. And then they find out that I don't have a Force of Negation, but... We'll see. I don't know what they're up to over there. Oh, that's brutal, Loverboy B. That sounds like a time. You get mana time. Oh, remand costs. Oh, I see. I see. Yes, you're smart. Yes, I always forget that I'm stupid. You see? You see? If you were to actually tell me, like, yo, you do realize that they're playing Living End, right? And a Cascade thing, and therefore they have to have not things like remand. Okay, so it looks like they're cycling. So we have a Stay of Execution, which I love. I love not being dead. Don't find a land. Don't find a land. They found a land. Right. They kept 2 mana open. Lord knows why, but I am terrified. That's a quality emote there, Wrenn. Oh, Cave Dan, have you seen the emotes? I haven't seen you since I got those going. Or when you dropped by, I was distracted. But if you haven't seen them already, we have emotes, and they're great. So now I have Dispute, Force, Veil, even if I play Wrenn and Six. Seems legit. I'm in. I think maybe them stumbling for land when they did. The Zoomer to Boomer one, I am a big fan of. I think I had a good concept on that one, and the name. Well, it's because of there's a streamer called Dreams of Ashiok, and for whatever reason we are aware of each other, and he's a real kind of Zoomer full of Zoomer humor against the Boomer. Not really in a malicious way, and so we just have a sort of friendly rivalry going where we kind of shit talk each other, and so I thought of the scene with Mr. Burns going into the high school and pretending to be a high school student, etc., and it just sort of came together as I was like, oh my god, that's really funny. Hello, fellow student. Thought it'd be quite corking if you were to give that money to the local energy concern. So me and my fellow fourth form chums. Me and my fellow fourth form chums. The cycle lands in this deck are sick. There's 4 Lonely Sandbars in this deck, and I've never been happier. It has not been problematic really at all. The problem in the previous version of this deck was just like the flooding in general. But having gone down to 26 lands over 28, I mean, it's definitely confirmation bias. Like, people who study statistics could probably tell me how wrong I am about how much it feels correct, but whatever it is, I'm happier now. But the not to say that the deck was bad before. What's the win con of this deck? Usually your opponent conceding. And by which I mean Loverboy B. It's funny because people ask me that all the time in these kind of control decks, and I just don't know if those people have ever played with a deck with Wrenn and Six emblem. Usually people just concede to it, and if they don't, you could just lightning bolt them and counter everything they play. And there is Jace the Mind Sculptor. I mean, there is Ice-Fang Coatl and 2 Snapcaster Mages. So yeah, I mean, I've killed people with attacking them with a couple of Ice-Fang Coatls and then lightning bolting them out of the game. All right, so I have to counter now. I have to counter next turn and have a backup. So let's go Dispute. And then what is my plan on the next turn? Because I have to... might not actually have enough here. They don't have enough mana to counter my counter unless they have something that they're not showing me. But if what they have is Veil or Mystical Dispute, hold up, Veil, Dispute, Veil, hold up, Force. I don't think that actually works math-wise, Ryan. Like, so I spend 3 mana on the Mystical Dispute. It counters this. That means I have 3 mana left. So we'll see, I guess. I mean, Cryptic Command might get me out of this, but they have to have a 4th land. So we'll just dispute this and see what happens. Okay. That makes things a little easier. Zing! Oh. Yep. So I boarded in 1 Veil, and that's all there is. There is a second Mystical Dispute, right? I think there is. There is. Bang. Oh my god! That was incredibly unlikely. My opponent says no way. My response is, I'm as shocked as you are. Just remember to enjoy it when that starts. When these things happen, I just yeah, I and that's what a positive mental attitude coming into your stream can do for you, friends. That's what it can do for you. right there. Mr. Maple Syrup, you just missed a wonderful 1 in 42 top deck, and it was everything. Opponent said, I don't want to see it. Luxac. I knew what I could draw. I knew what my out was. And I tried to draw to it, and we got rewarded. For once, everybody lives. Nobody dies. One in 42. It's because 42 is the ultimate answer to life, the universe, and everything. The ultimate question to life, the universe, and everything is, what do you get if you multiply 6 by 9? True facts. Sorry, you man. It was a 1 in 42 shot. I went and looked at my deck list, and I was like, there's one more dispute. I boarded it in. I did not make the mistake of not boarding it in. Let's see if we draw it. And lo and behold, I did. If you unfollow me, I'll be down to exactly 700 followers. So that would be fine. I wouldn't be mad about it. Because it's just such a nice round number, and I didn't get enough time to sit with it. You know, I was at 699 and then 700, and before you know it, it's gone. 701. It was way funnier that it did, right? Like, it was the content win. On the play, this hand is a banger. Banger! Did y'all hear me? Did y'all hear my overpronunciation of the G in banger? It is based on the first ever singer that I worked with in professional music. For some reason, he said it that way. I don't know if all people from Ohio do that or just that goofball. Opponent skips their first main phase. Opponent skips their second main phase. Interesting. Banger. Go play the lottery right now. What are you telling me to do? Buy a pack of Time Spiral? This is a fun fact from the pandemic. So I made my last Magic order was like 6 months ago, with Kinnons in it. So, and my Urian. Was that my last one? No, technically I ordered the Stoneforge Mystics after that. But anyway, I made a Magic order, and they threw in a free booster of Guilds of Ravnica. And in my Guilds of Ravnica booster, I opened a Breeding Pool, which I believe to this date is the most valuable Shockland in that set. Out of a free booster. It was tremendous. Resolves. So since I don't have a land drop here, I think I'm just firing off Pulse of Murasa to pick up Godless Shrine one day. Godless Shrine will never be the most valuable shock. You know it has to be a blue. Or maybe Windswept Heath. Your very first mythic pull in Magic ever was a Goyf. Nice. So next turn I will have 3 snowlands, so I'm just gonna take this. Let me dream. Perchance to sleep, Michael? Perchance to sleep? Oh, cruel fate, thou hast cast darkness over my eyes, or whatever Shakespeare nonsense. It's been a long time since high school. Relax, it's fine. Nice. Nice. Yeah, that's a very good draw. I love everything about that. I mean, the fact that I'm as advantaged as I am so far in this game has more than a little bit to do with the fact that my opponent just kind of skipped their turn 1. But, you know, we take those here sometimes. Yikes. That is a lot of 1-drops. Don't you dare Lavadart. I specifically said no geeks. Whoop. I mean, black-white is the best it's been in a long time in Modern right now. Orzhov Stoneblade, or Dead Guy Ale as it's never called anymore, is frequently a member of the 5-0 dump. Not only do I remember that, Loverboy B, I was playing in a tournament like the week before it happened, where people were playing Jace, Architect of Thought in Blue-White Control very much happily. I specifically remember that era. It was the first competitive Magic the Gathering tournament that I played in since I sort of like came back to the game, and I top 4'd a PTQ while playing Mardu Pyromancer. I also met one of the most amazing humans I've known since playing Magic, which was Chris Flink, which I don't expect any of you to know, but he was an ad nauseum master and just generally good dude. Yeah, I remember that day where we all woke up. It was unbanned Bloodbraid Elf and yikes, and Jace the Mind Sculptor. And there was even a couple of Temur decks knocking around for a little while that were trying to play both. Well, this is going well. So I'm going to 1, you said. Okay. Last card, Lavadart? No, much worse. My opponent skipped their turn 1, by the way. Skipped their turn 1. It's going okay, Drive My Bus. It's going okay. We just had an incredibly lucky win against the Living End deck, followed by a swift dispatchment by Blue-Red Prowess there, which was not a joy to be part of, I gotta tell you, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I would really appreciate a ban on Lavadart or Monastery Swift Spear or something. Hammer Time's still around. Hammer Time is still doing very well in competitive tournaments, actually. I mean, I say the word very well a little loosely, but it's still a very good deck. It's funny. That actually looks like Mono Red Prowess, just with Fiery Islets in it. That's why I'm happy to board out the Spell Snares. They didn't play a single blue spell that game, right? I mean, I could go back through the log, but I don't think that they did. Yeah. Hammer Time's only black, white, in color, not in spirit. Agreed. Agreed. Okay, let's roll. But yeah, and also there's the mono white Hammer Time, and then most recently I ran into red white Hammer Time, which was actually playing Magnetic Theft. Yeah, I mean this hand has Double Bolt plus Snap Bolt. Hey, look, we're playing Blue Moon. I quite agree with you. I loved when people were like, "Oh man, they should really print Lightning Bolts in Time Spiral Remastered. You know, get it in the old frame." And I was like, "What are you talking about? This is one of the most iconic Magic cards of all time." Like, it's Chris Rush. Yeah, he did Black Lotus. You know what else he did? Freaking Lightning Bolt. Come on, people. Come on. Okay. Jesus. Okay, opponent, I'm going to need you to calm down. Just... I haven't drawn my one of Weather Storm yet. Joiner Adept? I mean, Joiner Adept has a great art. They put it on the bottom. That's interesting. I wonder why they wouldn't want to keep it. Joiner Adept has a legitimately great art. I mean, it's not Auroch Champion, but it's good. Okay, this is less great. Well, yeah, I mean, and more importantly, I mean, I think it highlighted that there is a chunk of new art that is quite good. Although, as I mentioned in the last episode of Serum Visions, there are a couple of sets that I yeah. I straight up was not expecting that. I mean, I have 9 points of burn in hand, right? Yeah. But this is not for a blocker, Mike. This is my entire game plan now. I've found my entire game plan. At least we have removal, I guess. I can't imagine that I'm able to win this game from here, but yeah. So I specifically mentioned that this might be mono red, and then I played right into their sideboard Blood Moon because I'm bad at Magic, of course. That was pretty good. Let's see if we can keep it up. Yeah, I mean, it's mono red prowess, and I think they're probably playing Bedlam Revelers in multiple copies. I saw that this deck had come up over the weekend. How many basics do I run? I think 5. Yeah. All right. We're just done. I punted that game entirely by not ever fetching a basic because I didn't think I needed to, because I wasn't thinking of the fact that after game 1 I was saying, oh, maybe they're not blue-red prowess, maybe they're mono-red prowess, and I didn't continue that line of thought into they're going to board in Blood Moons. So, and again, worth pointing out, they missed their turn 1 in game 1 entirely. I don't know if they had a land or not. I mean, if they drew run on land, good for them. But and they still won that. Like, not in a difficult way. So those decks are incredibly powerful. For opinions on that are more informed, Loverboy B, I would recommend you check out Fluffy Wolf 2. is a well-respected streamer who is a prison enthusiast, and will definitely have a more coherent picture of the state of current mono red prowess than I will. Or mono red prison. I believe it is still a deck, but that's mostly me speaking out of ignorance. I don't actually know to what extent that deck is played or playable. Okay. So I can shock to try to bolt this. But I think generally speaking, with the threat of turn 2 Eidolon being there, that's just generally going to be a mistake. So we'll take another damage here. We'll fetch the Triome and hopefully not get punished. G2 Lava Runner. That's unexpected. So maybe we're against some kind of 8 bolt brew with copies of Wizard's Lightning would be my guess. So Lava Spike is going to do 4 damage in the short term. We can kill this with Spirit in response, though. So while I could counter the Lava Spike, it doesn't really do anything for me there. So take that. I'm not playing against Death Cloud. Of that, you are sure. How are you so sure, Alex? This deck could be playing Death Cloud. You don't know that. Yeah, I'd really rather you didn't. This is a huge, huge upside for us because this does not put another instant or sorcery into the graveyard, so the Lava Runner stays as a 1/2. This turn, I have a 2/2 Shark to block with, so hopefully that works out. Maybe should have forced that, but I was focused on this thing. That's going to go really well for me right here. Good old 2-for-1. Bonk. So I definitely don't want to fetch too many times from this point because I'm already at 9. But if they do play a haste creature, the Misty Rainforest can get me a Snowland, and then the Ice-Fang can trade for their creature. So they suspend a Rift Bolt. Yeah, that's not the best. So if at all possible, I need to find my Pulse of Murasa here, which is not particularly possible. The basic island draw is good. I think I have to play Jace here and try to draw into a blue card so I can force something. I'm okay with leaving Jace exposed. That was a tremendously good series of draws. Thank you, deck. I cannot thank you enough for your service. Okay, we should be in the clear from this point, but we'll see.
Side effects may include dry mouth, nausea, vomiting, water retention, painful rectal-itch, hallucination, dementia, psychosis, coma, death, and halitosis. Magic is not for everyone. Consult your doctor before use.
He's right. Also, hey, Mord. They finally had 2 mana. So it's possible I was going to go down 2 there, but I didn't, which is great. Oh man, they're just flooding out over there. Way too many mana sources. So much mana. Alright. Oh, I did not plus my Wrenn and Six. I meant to. But I was seeing if I was going to put a land into that. I should have fielded them right there. Alright, let's see what they do.
It's hammer time!
I only have the one counter right now. But yeah, plussing the Wrenn and Six there was really important. But I'm not going to counter this. Jesus. All right. I don't know, Poncer. Aspiring Spike speculated that it could be in Modern Horizons 2 for whatever reason. I don't actually understand the reasoning there. Flaco Javier, I don't want to field there because that gives them an extra mana. Yeah. Yep. Yikes. I can't field right now because if I do and they have any burn spell, they're just going to kill me. So what I have to do is untap, play Ice-Fang, remember to tick up my Wrenn and Six, Jace. I mean, it's not just price memory, right? I mean, Force of Negation is playable in a lot of formats. So it is actually like, because it's a very desirable, usable card. I'm probably going to die here. So I have to counter that. So I might as well counter that by drawing a card. If I hit Force of Negation, would be all right, and if not, it will not be. Okay. Yeah. Not even close. Actually, I couldn't have left a blue open. Pulsar, I would think that Force of Negation has been spiking recently because of the fact that control decks have actually been doing well in Modern. It's not just Modern, also, but control decks have been doing well in Modern, so tends to lead to that kind of thing happening. Yeah, I mean, the card prices as a whole will definitely be going up while people are starting to play more, but that's interesting. Last God. I'm diamond handsing my Force of Negations and my Wrenn and Sixes right now, and my Teferi Time Ravelers on Moto, but I really should cash out of them reasonably soon. I think all those cards are hitting a point where they're not likely to go any higher. That's funny. I bought 2 Kaya's Guiles when they were like less than 50 cents. All right. That was a really good draw. Yeah. Yeah. That does not sound fun, Mr. Maple Syrup. Oh, it's run-of-the-mill burn. Why were they playing Gitu Lava Runners in game 1? Anyway. I put the Eidolon on top. We drew it out perfectly. Straight to the mana resolves. Just wait, Mr. Maple Syrup. They'll have to break the reserve list eventually, right? That's what I'm telling myself. Shoot. Ah, that sequence. That was so rude. Oh, I'm upset. I'm incredibly annoyed. If nobody could tell. Yeah. Yeah, that's... Oh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Spiking because control has been doing well. Does that mean you think it will come down with the new set release, or more likely go up? I couldn't tell you. That's way too difficult. I mean, with the cards we've seen from Strixhaven, it does not seem like control archetypes, especially in Eternal formats, are getting much of a boost from what Strixhaven is offering. So I couldn't begin to tell you what archetypes are going to benefit more than others. If I could, I'd probably be a better competitive Magic player. So that's the best I can give you for the moment. So I really do not want to cast Force of Negation for alternate cost against a Roiling Vortex. What I would like to do is have a way to dig to sure, yeah. See, how is it fair that this is not dealing them 5 damage? You know what I mean? That card is so good that that should cause them to take damage for playing it. Yeah, but the current price spike Last God is because it's not just good, it's great. Like Force of Negation is like A+++++. And all the competitive blue controls adjacent archetypes are playing like 4 copies in their 75 or 95. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too, Mike. That's the dream. Burn out the burn player. In theory, I now have Snap Pulse, although the chance of them ever tapping down from this point is abysmally low. But maybe. This burn player is frustratingly well informed about what they should and should not be attacking. I don't think they've ever attacked one of my planeswalkers. Could you not? Jesus! Everything in their hand is 1 mana Bolt. Which I understand is what they're playing, but like, oof. Alright, I was trying not to get riled up about anything, but it's not crazy to Fate Seal them at all. Please decide to activate Roiling Vortex. Please decide to activate Roiling Vortex. Okay, we're fucked. Sorry, we are screwed. We can't win anymore. I don't think. Their hand was like all bolts. Oh. Well, you know, maybe spoke too soon. Maybe spoke too soon. Do I have enough mana for everything here? I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Play to your outs, people. Play to your outs. Never stop playing to your outs. I have a response. I would like to cast my one of Pulse of Murasa again. Instantly scoops. Woo! That was the plan, Mike. If they put it on top, we didn't get that far. We did not get that far. They were not concerned. They did not give a flip. They saw my Snapcaster Pulse of Murasa coming. They got the heck out of there. Should I board out or board in Unravel the Aether? Yeah, probably. Let's go. Let's go. I should probably keep the Spell Snare. Well, I do have 1 Weather the Storm out of the sideboard right now, so we could have 2 mana for 12 life. That could happen. Get rid of a Fawn? I think the Shark Typhoon is a little too slow. I think Force of Negation is important to have so that you can get through the early game. Not always, but I think frequently Force of Negation is a big part of getting you through the early game in this matchup. So hopefully they don't have a perfect curve of 1 drop into Eidolon. because we're not beating that. Oh. Well, don't turn that one out of bed for eating a sandwich. You just don't do that. Okay. This is game 3 now. Yikes. Not double yikes, though. Perfect. Thanks, buddy. This might work out real well. So I'm going to prevent that from going to their graveyard, which means this creature does not become a 2/2. Perfect. All right, opponent. I'd like to gain 12. Thoughts? Opinions? I concur. They did not appreciate life gain. They they did not appreciate my life gain. All right, match the 5th. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's freaking go. Oh, we're against one of the trophy leaders. Elidio de Brabo, 157 SL, which I assume is referring to some kind of vehicle. Oh, great. More burn. I said one of the trophy leaders. It's not the trophy leader. Bobble. Oh, they're on Lurrus burn. Interesting. Well, I'm not killing this, so... Or sorry, I'm not going to force the bobble. Day of burn. Yeah, I guess so. So... I either have to commit to getting hit again with this thing, or to not being able to necessarily cast my Wrenn and Six anytime soon. I think it's really important to start removing their creatures, especially if they have an Eidolon here. Or a Goblin Guide. Goblin Guide might draw me into the mana I need here. Spike. Yeah, I can't afford to take all that. I really wanted to draw that. I mean, I have to kill the Goblin Guide on my turn anyway, so I don't really get much of advantage of playing it the way I did, but I'm seriously debating taking Sultai and doing 5 cards of my sideboard anti-burn prowess, 5 cards, and anti-Heliod. And the rest of your cards anti-Tron. Give up on graveyard hate. I mean, I haven't seen that many graveyard decks doing well in competitive events last God, so it's possible that's the right way to go. But I couldn't tell you. Yeah, they grabbed their Luris. That's a good draw for me. It's a very good draw for me. Okay. They don't have a second white yet either. Okay. Play the round 6, and we are make cycle, and we are go and pick up Sandbar. Alright, opponent, you've got a card draw engine that you may or may not be able to deploy. The answer is may. The answer is, oh crap. That's going to get back a Swift Spear or a Goblin Guide if they wanted to. Well, better find removal. Oh. Strange. Ah, I see. Still strange. That is not the choice I expected. Well. What? That's not what I was looking for. I kind of needed to find. Yeah, I kind of needed to find burn right there. Maybe I can hit it here. Nope. All right. I got a death touch blocker, so you know, don't burn it. Oh right, they had the Rift Bolt. Well, this is not likely to go well. Yeah. Okay. Uh-huh. Oh, shocker. Okay. Was it going upstairs? Sure, why not? Oh my God. Stop it! I'm already dead. I'm going to 2 if you want me to. I don't want to go to 2! Oh my God. Well, better draw something good. For reference, this hand was very good off the bat. This was a good goddamn hand. We're still just getting eaten alive here. That was a good draw. I'm still probably going to die anyway because prowess triggers don't care about anything really. So I can cycle and make a 1/1 shark, and maybe that can do something. Likely they're going to fetch here and then crack the Sunbaked Canyon, so I have to dodge an unbelievable amount of draws. Yep. I also have to cycle my Shark Typhoon, get a 1/1, and hopefully have... Never mind. No, they still need a spell. They still need a spell. Alright, opponent. You could never have a spell here. Again, it does not need to resolve. Just to trigger. Alright. Alright. Let's go! Okay. Why do you have to be a sorcery? Huh? Is that something you needed to be, friend? Did you need to be a sorcery? It's fine. Sand is good. Not great, but good. It's really going to depend on how sick our opponent's hand is, but should be good enough. Yeah. Okay, that's a good sign. So I'm assuming they have Eidolon the Great Revel or another good 2-drop here. So we just passed the turn. Yeah, they're going to have Bolt or something. There's nothing I can do about that. Like, literally. That's exactly what I was hoping would happen. So now we fetch, then we play untapped lands for the next couple turns. I can deploy Wrenn and Six and then have a cycle. Yipes. I don't have a sorcery, or I don't have an instant speed spell anyway, so I'd rather be drawing a card at this point than stockpiling lands in my hand that don't help me out. So this is the danger turn. We'll see how bad this gets. They put Lurrus in their hand? That is so good for me, considering what my hand is. Yeah, that's some A+ stuff right there. So this turn, no matter what, I'm going to Cryptic. Basically whatever they play. If they play Lurrus, it's amazingly good for me. But regardless, we will Cryptic. Yeah, because if they have the Lurrus still, they'll probably go land into Lurrus. And they can't play that. And they can Lurrus into the Bauble here, which is a 2-for-1 for them, because I'm going to Flame Slash it. But it still ends up working out for me. Yeah, do it. Do it. Do it. Play the Lurrus. Play the Lurrus. Play that cat. Give me the kitty. It's fine. It's exactly what I wanted. Mm-hmm. Almost named your cat Lurrus. What? What a miss. Also, Enter Sandman. I don't know why you want to hear Enter Sandman right now, but that's phenomenal. Love that song. Okay. Words I have said on stream. Apropos, very much so. Very much so. Alright. Starting next turn, we begin the era of infinite cryptics. Oh, good. We do not yet have a thick command, but Alex, I have to warn you. Alex. If you write a... Okay. Okay, now I'm warning you, Alex. The next time you come up with a command like that and you half-ass it like that, I'm gonna demod you. You're my friend and I respect you, but I really, really would like there to be just a higher benchmark for quality on this stream in the humorous writing. So, just warning you. You're free to do it, but just this isn't a playground for you to just goof around. Can't do that emojiing thing that Roy does. Yeah, he programmed keyboard shortcuts for himself. That Skullcrack is going to resolve. They have 3 cards in hand. They have 3 mana. So if it's Bolt, 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 I don't lose. Although it's definitely bad for me. This is the end of their turn, so I should be in the clear here. Yep. Oh, they bolted the Wrenn and Six. I was not expecting that. That's fine. We should win from that play. I said not from that play, but we should win with that play happening. I get it. I mean, Wrenn and Six was, like, as I said, Wrenn and Six was going to be the end for them, so. That's an incredibly good draw. I'm just saying, Alex, I don't appreciate low effort content when I'm consuming content, and so I don't want low effort content in my stream. Like when we do something here, we go full ass, thick, booty. The MTG booty thing was some obnoxious person who I don't remember the name of, but it doesn't matter because somebody was like, oh man, it's so frustrating the way female streamers, put pictures of themselves in their tweets and their streams, and they get views based on that, and I can't believe they're commodifying their sexuality. I think it really started from this person going off to someone's stream or Twitter and like pointedly saying to them like, don't you realize that you're commodifying your sexuality or blah blah blah. That whole, if it's not slut shaming, it's like assuming that all women who put pictures of themselves into their content are doing so because they stand for economic gain, and it couldn't just be because maybe the people who perhaps in our society are the most pressured to always look good and sound good and all the, maybe, just maybe that person did it because they liked the way they looked and they were hoping other people would like the way they looked, and not necessarily that was going to result in any commodification or monetary gain for them. But no, everything has to be economics. Everything. Every person is making every choice they make in life, not for simple human reasons, but to exploit others. Right, and like I don't know that there's anyone in Magic who could ever be who's ever been sustainable or really respected, who's been the kind of, anyway. Yeah, but when you're saying a dumb thing about a group of people that already have a tough time within a larger group, like one of the best things about Magic for me is that in high school, me and my friends felt like outsiders. But Magic and D&D and nerdy places were places where I never had to feel like an outsider. Like, it just meshed with me, and it appreciated who I am and who I want to be and how I want to be, in a way that so many other places in my life weren't doing. And the thought to me that someone else would come to Magic, and because of the way people treat them based on things that they could never control, or they're trying to make something great and they're trying to put good positive energy into this world, and they're getting this pushback, and they're getting, people assuming that they're doing it for other reasons just because of something they can't control. That sucks. That just sucks, and that's not okay. I want the Magic community and any community that I'm a part of to be as welcoming to those people, no matter who they are, women, men, non-binary folks, people of every race, people of every, religion, to be as welcoming to them as it was to me, because it's been special for a long, long time for me. All right, this hand kind of sucks, but maybe everything comes together very well. Except the lizard people, they're awful. I'm in every human race. I guess that was speciesist of me. I will play with Aang against anyone as long as they aren't playing Pickle Rick. Those are words. Lizard people are part human. I don't think that scans very well. Yeah, I played Warhammer too in high school. But the point was, like, these were communities where, I don't know, they got me and I got them, and it was just always kind of welcoming, and it was fun to fit in. I mean, people want to fit in. And being not labeled as an other is very important for humans, So having a place where you instinctively are comfortable and feel embraced and all that is just such a big deal. Anyway, enough soapbox, I guess. Alex, I think you're correlating anthropomorphicness with human. Like, just because something's humanoid doesn't mean it's human, unless you're actually saying that the lizard people are real. In which case, stop telling people. There are people listening. The judge program still uses those lizard folk. This is a problem. Put Lurrus in your hand. Don't cast spells. Rift Bolt, but that is mana. That's tempo positive. Yeah, I have nothing to deploy here. This sucks. I would like to draw Weather the Storm. Right meow. See, I didn't want my opponent to do something like that. That is incredibly good. I would like to draw Weather the Storm. Right now. All right, that works. It's not what I wanted, but I'll take it. All right? All right, game? You hear me? Loud and flippin' clear? Okay. I can bounce that. I can play that. That'll be good soon. For now, Jace, the Mind Sculptor. Boing. Sprite. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, it's so bad. I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah. Well, I'm at 1. Boy, am I ever at 1. I was so ready to draw a fetch land there. The fact that I didn't means maybe there is some justice in this world. That's a phenomenal draw. That one was real good. Have you tried gaining life? You know, I've thought about it, but I've never had a good avenue to pursue that Larynx Punchworthy. Okay, their one card in hand is Eidolon. Can I pass the turn here? I think that I can. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the problem is in order to bolt, I need to let the Eidolon resolve. So I think we're like going to gain 9 and then lose 2, most likely. When they play Eidolon, I go Bolt Weather the Storm. I could just Bolt Weather the Storm now and go to 7 guaranteed and just assume that I can win the game from there, which is probably best. I consider just not losing life. Oh, 1. I must have failed to lose life somewhere. I think. Yeah, exactly. Well, any burn spell in response. I think it's not safe. I think we're just supposed to do this now. And then if they play Eidolon next turn, it probably means they didn't draw a 1-mana burn spell, which means I can Jace bounce it again and then have Cryptic the next turn.
It's hammer time.
What's up, Liz? Mm-hmm. Snapcaster off the top would be ideal. You do like Temur. I like Temur too, but I don't like it when people pronounce it Temur, because it is not a demure color combination. It is fairly aggressive. We got to counter this, and then see what I draw. And I still have Brainstorm next turn. Oh, right. All right, I'll take 2 for that. Every deck I see you play is just Snap Cryptic and 50 other cards, lol. Is that a problem? Oh boy. Oh, I think we just won. No, we have a better play, Last God. We have a much better play. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Anyone think gaining 9 life is going to be good? Anyone? Just me then. Very well. Well, I can tell you typed Fruit Brainstorm because you were suggesting a line that said I was going to lose my Jace, which is just not the case here at all. Your go, opponent. Would you like to attack? They would. Oh, because they... That's so strange. Whatever. Yes, I will block. Did they like, forget that I had a creature? That makes no sense that they... Oh, they're at 6. I can almost kill them. That's why they wanted me to block there, I see. Well, that's a draw. Does anyone think that I might be the burn deck now? I think I'm the burn deck now. Look at me, opponent. Look at me. Look at me. I'm the burn deck now. Boop. This is a Splinter Twin situation. You call that. That is my one QP that I needed to play in the event tomorrow. So hopefully I'll be playing Niv Mizzet tomorrow in the Super Qualifier, which I should find out what time that's at. 19 hours? Man, that's late. There's a Super Qualifier in the afternoon, because that'll be 12 plus 7. So 10 a.m., 5 p.m. Holy crap. Ugh, okay. Anywho, this was my second video with this Temur Snow Control deck, tweaked to my own specifications. I didn't feel like we were ever too land light, and I definitely felt like Snapcaster Mage was huge, Shark Typhoon less so. So maybe we could go down to the 1 Shark Typhoon and go up to a 3rd Snapcaster Mage. Although Snapcaster Mage does kind of eat the resources of the other, so maybe we could go down to 2 Jaces and up 1 more, like go back to the 2nd Shark Typhoon. I'm not entirely sure. Jace is obviously very, very good in a whole bunch of situations, so those are minor tweaks and massages. The 2 Field of Runes were never problematic, but they also weren't helpful in that particular league that we played, although they easily could be otherwise, so not to say that they wouldn't be. So it was a good archetype. It's a pretty good deck. Although we went 2-3 and 3-2, so it's not like a standout. I think you have to really, really know your deck well and be a little bit lucky, as we were when we cycled into the 2nd Mystical Dispute. But the deck is clearly built with some reasonable framework of successful cards all meshed together in a way that's vaguely synergistic. Is Ice-Fang Coatl something you should actually be playing in Modern right now? I don't want to say yes or no, because I'm pretty sure my instinct is no, but I'm never going to stop playing this card because I freaking love it so much. Just like Snapcaster Mage, these are just my favorite cards. I just want to play flash creatures that draw me a card. I was actually thinking about Snapcaster the Mage the other day, and I just... It breaks my heart every time there's a set that comes out that has a potential theme for something that's as good as this. And that newer players won't get the experience of something that's this great. There was the potential when they did Jumpstart in Guilds of Ravnica, Guilds of Ravnica. They had the Jumpstart mechanic, and I've already mentioned it on stream before, but I wish they had made a blue-red flash 2-2 or 2-1 that gave Jumpstart to a card in your graveyard. They didn't. We're currently about to see the release of Strixhaven. There's nothing like this card in that set at all. So it's really, I don't know. Maybe Snapcaster just gets to be my favorite card forever, and that's fine. I mean, I guess that's fine. You know, it just is what it is. But I love everything this card can do, and I also am a big fan of Cryptic Command. Cryptic Command, again, another card that's difficult to say that it's actually all that playable in Modern, but I do love it. We are going to play one more deck tonight. We're going to play Temur Track Urza. This is the Temur Urza deck that Aspiring Spike put together with Tireless Tracker. I did see someone else playing this against a streamer that I know. However, the person was playing Kinnons in their deck, which I think is probably not a good addition. even though I am part of a podcast where our early fame came from Kinnan influenced decks. Last time I played this was off stream and it was reasonably good. So stick around for that. And if you're in the future on the YouTube, make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, check out any other videos you enjoy. And for everyone live,